North, baby! Let's go!
All right, what is going on YouTube, Apple, Spotify? It is Boss Man Spencer, aka Isaiah, from Ascent Sports in the Zaya and the Steelers podcast, welcoming you back to another episode of Zaya and the Steelers. And this one will be the final episode of Zaya and the Steelers on this channel. I will be moving channels. I don't want to talk too much about it at the very start, but I will be moving channels. I'll put all the links in the description. And once again, if you're interested, we'll talk more about it at the end if you've been a subscriber for a little bit. But there is a lot of new people here, a lot of new people every day on the videos. So if this is your first time listening, it could be your last time listening, or you could continue watching. I will be on a new channel going forward. We'll see. But as you can see by the topics, we do have some things to talk about. We will be talking about if the Steelers have a top receiving core, because I'm not gonna lie, I saw a tweet. And you know how I get with some of these tweets, man. I'm just like this cat right here. I love this cat. I love having this cat right here because this is literally me at these tweets. It's ridiculous. How do we not have a top 5 receiving core compared to some of these teams? We'll talk more in depth about it. I also want to talk about if Alex Highsmith. He's up for an extension and he's definitely worth it. He's definitely somebody who I think we should extend. But I want to look at, how much the contract will impact us, how much what his value is, how much he's worth on the market, and what it's going to look like when we do extend him, because I think we're going to extend him. I think he's a player that he's only improved. He's improved every year, and he's a Steeler, man. He's just a Steeler. He's a great player. So we'll talk about Alex Highsmith a lot. We'll also look at some other tweets, and then once again, as I mentioned earlier, we will talk more in depth about the future of the show and the future of this channel too. I should have put that there, but I want to talk about the future of this channel specifically as well. So once again, if you're interested, we will be talking about that at the end. So yeah, stay tuned. So also right before the very start, I did get this comment on the last one. And shout out to LT4564. Okay, shout out to him. But this comment to me was a little crazy because I feel like we're sleeping on Juju. So in the Colin Cowherd segment of this, Colin Cowherd had the Chiefs falling to the 4th seed. Okay, so the Dolphins, Bengals, Jaguars, they're all better than the Chiefs, and I was trying to figure out why. And so I was like, oh, maybe it's because they lost Juju, kind of as a joke, But I didn't mean for the joke to get. I didn't mean for Juju to get like 7 laughing emojis about it, I didn't mean for that to happen. And so, obviously Juju's not the whole reason the Chiefs won a Super Bowl. But, it's been like, what, 2-3 seasons since they won that first one. They were kind of in a drought. They get Juju. Let's look at his numbers real quick. Juju had his second best yard season ever. His second best yard season in his career. The touchdown numbers were low, but 3 touchdowns, that's not bad. He played in all 16 games. He started 14 of them. He was probably, a little hurt, but he played in every game, and he won a ring. So, I mean, not a bad situation. Now he's out. I'm tired of people sleeping on Juju, too. He's a part of our offensive core. He's a part of our receiving core. He can be a Patriot. He can be a Chief, but Juju's always a Steeler. And so the laughing emojis to me, I thought was a little crazy, but it is what it is. We got to stop sleeping on Juju, guys. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. So now to talk about our current offensive core. You see him in the pictures, but our current receiving core. We got Deontay, we got George Pickens, we got Calvin Austin, we got Patrick Freiermuth. Am I forgetting anybody? And we got Allen Robinson. I'm always forgetting. We got Allen Robinson now. Okay, he's been an all right. He's been a pretty good receiver at some points. Lately, he's okay. He's all right. He's been all right. But he's been a very good receiver at points. So he's a good veteran to have on the team, okay? And so then I see this tweet from PFF, page with 1.2 million followers. And it says per Tampa Bay Trey. So I don't know this guy. He has 70,000 followers. He's a columnist. Shout out to this guy, Trevor. But Trevor, I disagree with you. I disagree with I don't think we have a better receiving core than the Bengals, and I don't think we have a better receiving core than the Dolphins. You got me on Tyreek, and you got me on Jalen, and you got me on Jamar, you got me on T. Higgins, and you got me on Tyler Boyd. Now, as far as top receivers, we'll talk about that too. But for now, in terms of just the top names versus everybody else, okay, the Bengals, you got me, and the Dolphins, you got me. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're very good. But after that, the Raiders, they got Devontae Adams, who's great. Devontae Adams, he's amazing, okay? But after that, I mean, Hunter Renfrow, are you kidding me? Are we going to do this right now? Hunter Renfrow? I think they got somebody else too. I shouldn't completely sleep, but come on, we'll talk about it. And then the Bills, you guys got Stephon Diggs. You guys got what's his name? The Gabe Davis. You guys got Dawson Knox, and then you just drafted a new tight end. It's like, come on, man. And then to close it out, the Chiefs, who I think, they have Travis Kelce, who's amazing, but other than that, like, I don't think, player for player, they have a better core than us. And so if I don't believe 3 out of these 5 teams don't have a better core than us, that must mean the Steelers have a top 5 receiving core, right? That's what that means, right? So I'm saying it. The Steelers have a top 5 receiving core in the AFC. I'm saying it. So let's talk about it. Starting out with the Bengals. So the Bengals, like I said, they got Jamar Chase, who I think is better than the other receivers we have. Cool. But not by much. Not by much. You're sleeping on George Pickens. Everybody's sleeping on George Pickens. He's coming into year 2 now. We'll see about him. But then they got T. Higgins, who, to me personally, out of bias, maybe not even bias. Let's look at it. Maybe not even bias, but to me personally, I'm not just going to rank him ahead of Deontay. I don't care how many fumbles. I don't care how many drops. I don't care how many no touchdown seasons. Like, I'm not just giving it to Deontay, I'm not just doing Deontay like that. But T. Higgins is coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons conveniently as Jamar Chase shows up. Much like maybe, let's say, Juju Smith-Schuster, who I had, he wasn't a number 1 receiver. Remember, it was AB. He wasn't even good. That season he had, that anomaly season in 2018, it didn't count because AB was there. So that's what people say about Juju, but it counts for T. Higgins. Cool. So yeah, they got T. Higgins, who, maybe is better than Deontay, but I'm not saying it. I'm not giving it to him. And then between him and George Pickens, I'm taking George Pickens too. But T. Higgins is, a great receiver, so cool. And then Tyler Boyd, he's pretty good. So they got 3. Maybe we can have 3. We'll see about Calvin Austin or Alvin Robinson this year. Maybe we'll have 3. But for now, we have two really good players who are honestly, arguably, to me, better than T. Higgins. So they got Jamar. And then we got Deontay and George Pickens. We got the next 2. So, I mean, are they better than us? We'll see about that. Next, the Dolphins, who this is another team where it's like, potato almost. They got Tyreek Hill, who's probably, better than all our receivers. Cool. But then Jalen Waddle, who I'm giving it to Jalen Waddle. I'll give it to the Dolphins. Jalen Waddle had a pretty good season last year. Speed kills. He's definitely a really good guy. Definitely back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's really good. Multiple touchdowns, 14 touchdowns, almost catching up to Deontay. I think Deontay only has. No, Deontay, he only has the 1,000-yard receiving season, but we know our offense has been pretty bad, and that's what we don't get. We don't get the benefit of the doubt a lot. We don't get the Matt Canada excuse like we really should be getting. Like Deontay, Juju, a bunch of people, they've been getting nerfed in this system. Chase Claypool, maybe he's not an example, but a lot of receivers have just been getting nerfed in this system, man. And Deontay, there's no excuse for the last season thing, like the no touchdowns. Just, it's sad to say. I don't know how to even describe this, but like, is that Deontay's fault? Like, is it his fault he didn't get any touchdowns? Once again, we know he had the drops and shit. But was he just getting locked up like that? Is this like a drops thing is what I'm trying to ask. The 0 touchdowns, is this like he had a bunch of drops? Because people like really hold it against him. And it's like, fuck, like, I'm sure he tried to get a touchdown, like, but back to the overall point here. So the Dolphins in Cincinnati, based off everything I just said, where's the original? There it is. The Dolphins in Cincinnati, maybe. I didn't mention the tight end, which apparently is a factor because it has to be for Kansas City to be. If Kansas City is here, tight end is a factor, and I didn't mention either of the tight ends on the team. So We'll talk about that in a second, but cool. I'm willing to give that to them. But next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders and Jacoby Myers. Oh, they just got Jacoby Myers. I didn't know that. Okay, this actually might be right. I didn't know they got Jacoby Myers. He's been okay. Jacoby Myers, I don't think is better than any of us, but once again, just by sheer numbers, just by sheer names on a list, sure, he's an addition. Hunter Renfrow, let's see. Hunter Renfrow, I think he had to have been hurt last year. 1,000. Man, what? All right. Hold on. Let me lock back in here. Let me get back on point. Let me summarize this. This right here, the Las Vegas Raiders having a better receiving core than us, is a lie. It is a bold-faced lie. It is a blatant lie. Because hold on, let's where's Deontay again? Deontay last year, no touchdowns, 800 yards, okay? 800 yards. Once again, we understand that they have Devontae Adams on this team. But Hunter Renfrow, he's had the 1,000-yard season. He's had two 600-yard seasons. I'm a big fan of Hunter Renfrow, but what? And we haven't even mentioned George Pickens. I don't even have George Pickens' numbers up. I don't have Allen Robinson's numbers up. But come on. Hunter Renfrow, Allen Robinson, potato. You know, you're talking about Allen Robinson here. He's our fourth receiver, you know? But that's their number 2 or 3. Or Jacoby Myers isn't better than Deontay Johnson. Jacoby Myers isn't better than George Pickens. You know, so how? Once again, how? And you know who they don't have anymore? They do not have Darren Waller. They do have Austin Hooper. But who cares about Austin Hooper? Because if we look at PFF, Pro Football Focus, it's time to activate my trap card, you know? If we look at the same website, this is from a single person, but if we look at the same website that's promoting this tweet, we have top 15 tight ends ahead of the 2023 NFL season, okay? Top 15. Travis Kelce, we talked about him. He's literally Kansas City's only hope to be on this graphic. He's Kansas City's only hope. So cool. You got him. Mark Andrews, not on the graphic. George Kittle, not on the graphic. Dallas Goedert, NFC. Hawkinson, NFC. Patrick Freiermuth, number 6. Patrick Freiermuth, the 6th-ranked tight end in the NFL. Patrick Freiermuth, higher than Kyle Pitts, who went, number 2, 3, 4 in the draft? Kyle Pitts, a top 4 draft pick. Pat Freiermuth ranked higher than him as a second-round draft pick. So that's what they ranked. The same website, okay? The same website. We pull up his numbers, and last season he had 700 yards, so close to 1,000 yards, 2 touchdowns, not really the best. And then the previous year, 507 touchdowns, so 9 touchdowns overall. I'm willing to bet better than Austin Hooper. I'm not better than Austin Hooper. Maybe Mike Gesicki better, but I mean, Patrick Freiermuth, they ranked him 6th. That's what they got him ranked. And then next highest on this list, on this graphic, Dawson Knox on the Bills at 12. So pretty much double back of what Patrick Freiermuth is. That's the next highest, and that's on the Bills, and they got Stephon Diggs. We'll talk about them. The next team, they're not even on the list. They're not even on the list, okay? So we got a tight end who is only behind Travis Kelce, who's down here, okay? And then Dawson Knox, who's literally, he's ahead of Dawson Knox. And we'll talk about that. I haven't gotten to the Bills in a second, or I'll get to the Bills, but we haven't talked about them. But he's better than Dawson Knox, so we have a better tight end than the Bills off the rip. And now if we go to the receivers, okay? Hold on. Actually, you know what? Let me go through Buffalo real quick. So Buffalo, like I mentioned, they have Stephon Diggs, who, okay, you got me. Gabe Davis. If we look at his numbers, and I got to do this for the other teams because, you know, obviously I'm not. Yeah, I can't like lock into the Bills like that. But I mean, great touchdown numbers, decent yard numbers. Great Gabe Davis. He's all right. But to once again, when we have a better tight end, you guys have a better receiver 1, but we have a better tight end than you. And I'm saying George Pickens is better, bro. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, I'm biased, but George Pickens is better than every number 2 receiver I've named. Like, he's better. So if we have the best number 2 receiver, and we have the worst number 1 probably, but a pretty good number 1 in Deontay. At least going into the season. Next season, I think George Pickens will take over. But if we have the best number 2, the best tight end, and, you know, a number 1 somewhere, I think they're sleeping. So if we go to, I don't even got to go to Kansas City, by the way. They have Travis Kelce, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, who played well, MVS. Like, MVS, are you kidding me? I'm sorry. I hate the slander. But MVS, and we're talking about Deontay Johnson, who I spent maybe 3-4 years is like, yo, this dude is mad underrated. He's nice because Deontay is nice, and I swear he's nice. But the 0 touchdown season, man, it confused everybody. But yeah, I'm not just giving that to MVS. Like, are you kidding me? And same thing with George Pickens. I'm not just giving that to MVS. I'm sorry. And any of these other people besides Travis Kelce, I'm not doing it. So it is what it is. I think they're sleeping. I really do think they're sleeping. And I haven't mentioned also Calvin Austin, who hasn't played, but a lot of people are very hype about. A lot of people are looking forward to Calvin Austin playing for us, are looking forward to his additions to the team. Last season in preseason, like, this dude was he was like a star in camp. And so he could potentially be a big piece for us. And so with all that said, I hate to say, like, the Steelers got a top 3 offense in the AFC. We really do. With the, like, I just can't. We got a better offense I'm sorry. I shouldn't say offense, but receiving core just names, because we know how Matt Canada can do people. Receiving core just names. To me, we have the 3rd one in the league. And who knows, guys, maybe I'm just fibbing. Maybe I'm just lying. Maybe, we are outside of the top 5 in the AFC, because we do have Matt Canada. And Matt Canada has prevented us from having enjoyable football. He's prevented us from scoring in the first half. He's prevented us from scoring more than 20 points more than once a season. And so a lot of our players get nerfed. So who knows? But me as a Steelers fan, I'm being biased. This is a Steelers podcast. This is not a government-funded thing. I can be biased. I'm being biased. The Steelers are the team. The Steelers are the talk of the town. We got the best players. And T. Higgins is not better than Deontay Johnson. I'm sorry. T. Higgins is not better than Deontay Johnson. T. Higgins might not even be better than George Pickens, but we'll see about that. Jalen Waddle, same thing, but I won't die on the hill because, once again, he is not a division rival. Really, this isn't that serious. I don't have it. Like, I don't want to go through like the actual nitty gritty of a bunch of 800-yard receivers. No offense, but it's not really that big of a deal. But this tweet definitely did catch my eye, and I really do think people are sleeping. And I think our offense this year overall is gonna turn heads this year, because if our running game can just come out firing with the offensive line additions that we made, if our running game can just come out firing, like I said, and we can just fucking score, man. We can actually fucking move the ball. We can get first downs. It'll be perfect. And Deontay will be back in the Pro Bowl talk. George Pickens will probably move up into the Pro Bowl talk. Calvin Austin, we'll see what he will do. Pat Freiermuth will probably move higher up in the tight end rankings. He's number 6 now. Like, what a pick, what a draft pick by us. We're just, once again, we're nice. We're nice. And I'm tired of people sleeping. That is the overall point, man. I'm tired of people sleeping. Soon they're going to be waking up, but I'm trying to wake you up in June. Remember, guys, I'm trying to wake everybody up in June. Okay? So in February, when we're competing for a Super Bowl and Kenny Pickett wins his MVP after throwing 95 touchdowns and George Pickens has 50 and Deontay has 30, when that happens, just know June 25th, I tried to fucking tell you. So it is what it is. Next, let's talk about Alex Highsmith, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Highsmith, who is now going into his 3rd year, and I'm not going to lie to you, that as shitty as this is to say, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I swear, last season, 2022, I swore that was his 2nd year. I swore last season was his 2nd year, but it was his 3rd season. So, hey, shout out to Alex Highsmith. I really, I don't know if in videos and stuff, I don't know if I was, really referring to him as, a 2nd-year player, but I genuinely thought he was he's going into his 3rd year now. So, it is, once again, I've been watching for so long. There's so many players, but damn, he is going into his 4th year, which is why he is up for a contract extension. So if you look at his sacks, 14.5 in the 2022 season. Total, he has 22.5. It's gone up 2 to 6 to 14.5. I'm sure that has gone with more reps and stuff. But for the most part, he's still doing his thing, man. And he is up for a contract extension. And if you look at this, I have our salary cap on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, look at all of these freaking numbers, man. Can you even believe I have this up on the screen right now? So it is a little much to look at. But if we look here to the bottom right, it says Alex Highsmith, his calculated market value. is $13.9 million. But if we look here, now I want to take you to the left here. If we look at our players currently under contract for this season, okay, we got TJ at $20 million, Cameron Hayward at 15, skipping down. Next, we got Minka at $1 million, but trust me, that is going to change. Then we got Levi, Larry Ogunjobi, Patrick Peterson, all these people. This is their cap hit for this season, right? But then if we look to next season, we got to hit update here. We look to next season. We got TJ at 21, Cam at 16, Minka at 14, Larry at 5. So we're definitely signing a bunch of people on defense next year. We also got Allen Robinson on the team for 10. That's a little sus right there. We'll probably do something about that. But as of right now, we'll have the cap. We'll have the cap because we have a bunch of young players like Naj. He's not under his big contract yet. I'm sure that'll be a conversation soon. But he's not under his big contract yet. Kenny Pickett, he's not under his big contract yet. A bunch of our left tackles not under a big contract. We have Mitch for 4. We have, other players for smaller cap hit numbers. But in terms of like the big hitters in the NFL, in terms of like the positions where you spend a lot of money on offense, we're not paying anybody. So with that said, realistically, we could just, do this Alex Highsmith deal for, around 14. Alex Highsmith, his 13.9 is the same as Minka's, but the same. It's a little bit less than Minka's 14, but I think that's just interesting. If you look at the cap hit, like that's how much money we're thinking about committing to Alex Highsmith, practically the same as Minka. So we could definitely do it. We could definitely just do it because we do have the cap space the following season because we aren't paying any of these guys. But is that gonna put us in a hole? Now, my thoughts on this, my plans on this is as sad as it is to say, Cam Hayward is not going to be contracted in the 2025 season. He will not be with us, and he is a huge cap hit. Cam Hayward, I'm sorry to say this. This is all love. This is all love. I believe you're rightly paid. I believe you should be paid exactly what you are because you're a great player. He's just there it is. But he's our second highest cap hit. So we are going to be losing him soon. I assume. If he continues to play, I don't think it'll be for as big of a cap hit as it is. Unless he is still literally playing at the same exact level he is now. If so, you got me. Cam Hayward, you're a legend. You're the guy. You do you. Keep making money. But that's not going to be a high cap that we're going to have to pay for very long, I don't think. And so we kind of slide Alex Highsmith into there. Obviously, next season, I want it on 2024. I apologize. Obviously, next season, Minka, his number slides up. And it is what it is. But honestly, I am not a math guy. I'm not a numbers guy. I really don't know what exactly or how exactly this can work. I could just be lying to you. We might not be able to re-sign Alex Highsmith, but this is the fans' podcast. This is the people's podcast. We want to keep Alex Highsmith though, so I think we'll be able to get it done. Once again, I think like Allen Robinson, for example, will get off his contract. Cameron Hayward, we'll see what happens with his career if he ends up retiring or not. Not trying to like push him into retirement either. It's just once again, his cap hit is super high. TJ and Minka, maybe we do some restructuring, but we need to keep them, so it is what it is. Deontay at 7, maybe we look to free up him. I don't know. But we are a receiver drafting team, so maybe that's another person to look at too. Deontay Johnson, maybe for a trade restructure. I started the video saying how good he is, all this stuff. But maybe we'll end up having to trade him. And I love Deontay, but if we have to trade him, then it is what it is. Once again, we are a receiver university, if you will. We're very good at drafting the receivers. Now I want to get into the tweet segment of the podcast. With it being the off season, we're kind of relying on these kind of quick takes. But honestly, I really like doing them too. So here we are. We're in the section. So starting it out, all division titles since 1970. We have 24 titles to 11, 6, and 6. Honestly, I don't know when the last time the Browns have won one. So those 6 came, it says 1970. I'm going to guarantee that those came in like the 80s or 90s or something, man, because not this decade. Next, another tweet. What made you fall in love with the Steelers? Kind of similar story to this guy, Matthew, who he has 2 straight tweets. I was born into a family not from Pittsburgh, but just a family who really likes Steelers or really like the Steelers. And I've just been watching the games for so long, man, that it was almost impossible to not be a Steelers fan. And this I don't know what video is playing right now. This seems pretty cool. But yeah, pretty much my dad was a Steelers fan, so thus I'm a Steelers fan. And here we are 23 years later making videos about the Steelers as Kenny Pickett gets hype on the screen with Patrick Freiermuth. Shout out. We beat Tampa we beat them this year too. Shout out to the Steelers. Next, the last 10 league leaders in sacks. I wanted to look at this because obviously we know TJ Watt in 2021 and 2020 he led the league. Also, he led the league at the highest number because it was pretty much the record. He pretty much got the record. I think the record is 22 and a half. This half sack, he should have got a full sack. He should have had 23, but it is what it is. He has 22 and a half, and that he missed a game or two that season. But he has the highest one in the past 10 years, or the past 10 years. Nick Bosa up there, Shaquille Barrett, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald leading this at 20 and a half is crazy. 2018 Aaron Donald must have been nuts. Justin Houston, there's an old name. Then we got J.J. Watt down here. Vic Beasley, that's another name. Robert Mathis is another throwback. Shout out to these guys. I think TJ Watt, hopefully, if he can just play, if he can be healthy this whole season, I think he'll get it back to leading the league for 3 out of the 4 years. I think he'll definitely get it back. Another Matthew Lucio. I liked a bunch of this guy's tweets today, man. Or not today, but just throughout the week. Next, who's the most underrated player in the league? We got some Alex Highsmith footage right here. Just absolutely mauling the tackle right there, getting past him, getting Justin Herbert. Next against the Browns. I believe that's Jedrick Wills. Is that Jedrick Wills? Yeah, that is Jedrick Wills. He's like a younger player, just absolutely went right by him. Got Joe Burrow. Like Alex Highsmith, he's a dog. And this last season was very good for him. I really hope we're able to get him under contract. We talked in depth about this receiving core. Just to go back to it, man. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I'm lying. But once again, I really do think that they're sleeping on us. We have a top 5 receiving core. Another Matthew. Hold on. Do I follow this guy? I don't even follow this guy. I'm gonna give this guy a follow. Shout out to Matthew Lucio. The greatest rule of all time, the Kenny Pickett rule. If you guys didn't see this was in the AFC Championship or the ACC Championship in 2021. Kenny Pickett just hits the defender with a fake slide. He holds up and then Kenny just goes right by him. This was sick. Obviously, this is now a rule. You can't fake slide, but Kenny invented it. It worked for us, and we took this game. Shout out to Pitt. Shout out to the 2021. Really, besides some fluke losses, we could have been the national champions that year, but, whatever. And then percentage of points scored when losing in the second half. I saw this tweet. I thought it was pretty interesting. So we score points when losing 29% of the time versus league leaders, Cincinnati at 68, Kansas City second at 59, Buffalo 53, Giants at 52. Pretty much this is just number of drives. It says exactly what it means. It's the percentage of drives that scored points when losing. So when we were losing, we scored 29% of the time in the lower amount of teams. So we're definitely going to want to bring that up. Hopefully Matt Canada has a plan for that. Buy or sell, Dan Moore Jr. will hold off on Broderick Jones in open season as the starter. I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell this take. I think whether or not Broderick Jones is ready now, I think just because of the first overall pick or the first round pick, I think Broderick Jones will take it over. I think this is one of those stories of, there's nothing really else, to talk about in camp, and Dan Moore, he was the starter, so they're kind of listing him through practice and whatnot. But eventually Broderick Jones will overtake him and he'll become the week 1 starter. That's what I think. If that doesn't happen, then, oh well, but that is what I think. If Broderick Jones isn't better than Dan Moore right now, then, that's pretty unfortunate. And Dan Moore has had plenty of time in the league. He's had all types of practice and experience with the real speed of the NFL. And I'm not talking about that. I just mean, in general, Broderick Jones, it shouldn't be crazy. It shouldn't be him just getting destroyed and Dan Moore's like the solution, the savior, I don't think it's like that. And if it's not like that, then I think you might as well just let Broderick Jones play. But that's just me. Bleacher Report names Calvin Austin III 2022 draft pick to watch. As you guys know, Calvin Austin was hurt last season. This is going to be his first year. Technically his second season, but really it's his rookie year. Shout out to Calvin Austin. I'm excited for him. Pro Football Network ranks Mike Tomlin as the number 3 head coach in the NFL behind Andy Reid and Bill Belichick. W opinion, and honestly, if we want to talk about it, do we want to talk about it? Is Bill Belichick better than Mike Tomlin? Is he though? Like, is he? No, Tom Brady. Take away Tom Brady. Is Mike Tomlin or is Bill Belichick better than Tom? Or wow, is Bill Belichick better than Mike? I'm just saying, man, because the Patriots, they've kind of stunk. They have kind of stunk, and we didn't have the best year without Ben, but I mean, there's been seasons where in 2019 where we still had a positive record without Ben. So hey, man, Andy Reid, I'll give it to. He has the more recent rings, and he has a ton of success. He is the system. Andy Reid has a history of making quarterbacks excel in play. He has a history of Donovan McNabb excelling, Michael Vick for a little time excelling, and what's his name, Alex Smith excelling in his system, and now Patrick Mahomes. Granted, Patrick Mahomes is also great in himself, but Andy Reid, we've seen the proof is in the pudding, so it is what it is. But I don't know, man. I'm saying it. I'll start it. Mike Tomlin should be ranked number 2 over Bill Belichick. I'll start it. I'll start it. Good morning. Say it back. Here is the Cleveland Browns and then their trophy case, the one playoff win and a bunch of offseason championships. Never forget Joe Burrow's iconic 4-interception performance in one half versus the Steelers. This was last year, week 1. We definitely kicked it off with a bang with beating the Bengals. We got swept in 2021, and so starting off the season beating them was huge when we weren't expected to beat them. We had Mitch Trubisky starting too. But yeah, just an absolutely great game from the defense. I think this was like probably one of the best games I've seen from the defense play. In terms of like the era that's not Troy and James Harrison and shit, in terms of like newer defensive era, this was one of the best games I think I've seen played. Like, we absolutely dominated, and it's a shame that this game even went to overtime because we smoked them. They literally couldn't do anything for 3 quarters worth of football. Maybe they had like one whole quarter worth of football where they were moving it and they could score. But we went to overtime in a game that was like 18-18 or some shit. It was ridiculous. If our offense just wasn't so terrible, man. But it is what it is. Next, we got some USFL news. The Pittsburgh Maulers, North Division champions, which I think the North Division is a conference. So I think the Pittsburgh Maulers have won their conference and will be playing in the USFL Super Bowl. So if anybody cared about that, shout out to the Pittsburgh Maulers. Big Pittsburgh energy right there. Big playoff team right there. Shout out to Pittsburgh Maulers. Hopefully we can follow in their footsteps. Next up, we got a tweet from Warren Sharp. Warren Sharp, he's like the percentage tweet guy. Play success rate inside the red zone. I believe this is like you scored from here because obviously, gaining yards in the red zone, I don't really think that matters. So I think this is percentage of plays where you score in the red zone. We're actually not that far down. We're at 43% above a bunch of teams. This could be, though, one of those stats that are like kind of misleading because maybe our red zone trips versus all these other teams are way below, because I'm telling you guys, we scored 3 touchdowns last year. It really didn't seem like we had, that much success. But according to this, we weren't horrible. So Matt Canada definitely cooking an average chef right there. Ranking the 4 most important free agents. Shout out to Blitzberg for this article. We got Isaac Semaleo, a guard, which W. Cole Holcomb, linebacker. To me, the Cole Holcomb, I'm sleeping on Cole Holcomb, guys. I'm sorry. I really am not familiar with Cole Holcomb. I don't know. Hopefully he's a dog, but to me this is a W because we got rid of all the linebackers. Next we got Patrick Peterson. Once again a W because we lost Cameron Sutton. It is what it is. But Patrick Peterson, he's a legend, so shout out to Patrick Peterson. And then last we got Marcus Golden. He's definitely a big signing for us because we were thin at the edge position, and if TJ ends up getting hurt, then we really only have Alex Highsmith as a starter. So having Marcus Golden out there, he'll help make a difference and keep us kind of fresh. Now, are the Steelers done with Levi Wallace? I've seen this kind of brewing. Really, I don't think we're in a position to lose Levi Wallace. While at the same time, I don't think Levi Wallace is, amazing. Like, I don't think this would be like losing Sauce Gardner or something. But, like I said with the Patrick Peterson thing, corner, we don't particularly know yet if Joey Porter Jr. and Corey Trice and Patrick Peterson, if they're going to be all solid for us. We don't know yet. We know on paper, we know prediction-wise, but we don't know if it's going to work. And we know with Levi Wallace and Cameron Sutton and Terrell Edmonds, We know that the secondary could use help, but for the most part can do their thing. So we're trying stuff this year. We're trying a bunch of new pieces. Maybe we'll be done with Levi Wallace. I don't know, but I would like to keep Levi Wallace. I like to keep all of our players. I've said this numerous times, but I'm tired of getting new players. I wish we could just keep every single person on the team for 10 years and we win. Because I hate having to get new players. D'Angelo Williams should have been a Steeler from the beginning, man. This era of Steelers football, D'Angelo Williams was so good for us. And now, granted, maybe it was because of the offensive line. Because we know once that fell apart, we kind of fell apart. Maybe it was because of the offensive line. We had a very good offensive line at the time. And then also, a couple years later, James Conner comes in, and he has success, and Le'Veon Bell has success. But D'Angelo Williams, to me, is like one of my favorite players. One of the signings that like I was the most surprised about and happiest about, because he was just a beast for us, man. Whenever we needed him to play, he played. He played a lot of volume too in some years, because I think Le'Veon would be either hurt or suspended sometimes, and so D'Angelo would play a lot. And D'Angelo, he was like, look at this run. He was a dog. And honestly, I don't know why. I don't know. Just to stir the pot here, I think D'Angelo Williams, his highs have been higher than Naj's highs. D'Angelo Williams' highs have been more exciting to watch than Naj's excitement to watch. However, I preface this with the line. We know the line was a huge factor. But if Naj can look like D'Angelo Williams looked like when we had him, then we're perfect. Then we're golden. Then there's not much else to say. Shout out to D'Angelo Williams. Was a very good time. And I miss him. I miss D'Angelo. Next, Pro Football Talk ranked the top 10 teams in the AFC right now, and we're coming in at number 9. And I know every time one of these happens and we're ranked somewhere in the back, I just decide like, fuck it, we're ranked number 1. But this is somewhat fair. Like the Chiefs, Bengals, I guess, Bills, these 3 I'll take, sure. Jaguars, they're on the up and up, sure. Miami, we really should have beat them last year, and if we did beat them last year, I would talk a lot more smack, but sure. Baltimore, I don't really necessarily believe, but fuck it. The Jets, they've had an amazing offseason, and like, maybe it'll work out, but we should have beat them too, so whatever. And then the Chargers, can the Chargers win one playoff game, please? Can the Chargers do anything in their nice stadium, in their nice jerseys, in their fantastic young quarterback who can throw the ball so far, and then Mike, what's his name, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and all that, and Austin Eckler? Can they fucking do something, please? But sure, they'll be number 8, and we're number 9. Shout out to Tennessee at 10. Honestly, is the AFC stink with Tennessee at 10? I would look to put. I would put the Patriots here before I put the Tennessee Titans here, but I mean that's just me. I hate a lot of teams, man. I'm biased against the whole AFC South. I'm biased against New England. I'm biased against the rest of the AFC North. So there's not really many teams that I would like in this 10 spot. But Tennessee being number 10, like, is Vegas busy? Like, are they doing something? Like, what's going on? And last, I don't know if this is last, but I did see this from Dove Kleiman, and I thought this would be kind of interesting to talk about. So Christian Gonzalez, rookie first-round pick Christian Gonzalez, was the team's best corner during OTAs and minicamp, according to Albert Breer. Gonzalez seems already good enough to play on the left side right away, opposite speedy Jonathan Jones, with Marcus Jones taking over in the slot. Versatile Jalen Mills can also contribute into multiple spots. That's not really about Christian Gonzalez. But the point is, we brought in Christian Gonzalez for a pre-draft meeting, and the word around the Steelers was he just wasn't our kind of guy. He fell on our board after he came in for whatever reason. So I thought this was interesting. I do remember seeing it around the draft that we did bring in Christian Gonzalez, and then all of a sudden we weren't as high on him. So who knows? Maybe it'll come back to bite us. He did get taken a little high. I think, obviously Joey Porter fell, and we were able to get him without any problems. But Christian Gonzalez might have fallen. Maybe we could have got him. I think maybe they took him with the pick we traded, now that I'm thinking about it. Who knows? But definitely something to look forward to, I guess, in the future, just to see, did we mess up? Was Christian Gonzalez like that? Did we get something wrong? Or were we right? Does Christian Gonzalez stink? Because that's what the Steelers said. They said he stinks. That's not what they said, but, he pretty much stinks. Look at this. Look at the Patriots. Look at this ugly blue. He stinks. And then Broderick Jones signing his rookie deal. We talked about him a little bit. Shout out to Broderick Jones. I think we only have. I think all of our rookies are now signed. Maybe Joey Porter Jr., the last one who isn't signed, but for the most part, all of our rookies are signed. Oh, this is actually the last tweet right here. If Pittsburgh had a professional basketball team, would you watch and be a fan? For some lore right here, I like the Indiana Pacers, and not really many other people like them, but I do, and I don't think I can switch, but I would definitely root for the Pittsburgh team. I also saw a lot of slander in this, not gonna lie. I'll try to find it, but yeah, I have zero interest in the NBA. Like my problem is with the NBA. It's that the sport is. I've seen a lot of slander about basketball, guys. Can we relax on the basketball stink takes? Like I know we're the Steel City and the Iron City, and we all this stuff. But can we relax on the NBA, guys? Like it's fun. The NBA is fun to watch. Can we? And you don't have a team, and then maybe this is why you don't have a team, because you guys are kind of assholes, But I like the NBA. I think Pittsburgh is one of those cities too that could use an NBA team. It's like a big city without one. But the market might not be there, according to the replies. But basketball's fun. The NBA is cool. And Pittsburgh should have a team. Let's end it. Pittsburgh should have a team, in conclusion. But all right. I think that is now going, because this is from the last time. I think that is going to do it for the tweet segment of the podcast, and maybe the podcast as a whole. I know this wasn't the most action-packed episode, and I know the news of me switching channels, maybe that's kind of putting a damper on things, but I'm happy with the way this is going, with the way this has turned out. Once again, make sure that we go follow this page, Zaya and the Steelers. I'll have it all types in the description. It'll be everywhere. I'll probably even change the bios of a few of these episodes because they're still getting views. This one actually might get to 3K. Let me refresh this. Will this be at 3K? Oh, we gained a sub in the refresh. It's 105. It's not at 3K, but we did gain a sub in the refresh. So definitely a bit of a rip here. 51 likes too. Shout out. Definitely a bit of a rip for this channel, but I hope on this newer channel we can find newer success, new types of content as well, and just once again a more centralized platform. But anyways, guys, once again, I think that is going to do it. It has been real, Ascent Sports. This will not be the last of me, but likely the last of the Zaya and the Steelers. So it has been real. It definitely has been real. I appreciate everybody who has followed this page and subscribed to this page. Once again, if you enjoy this, make sure you go check out the other one. And I'm kind of rambling at this point. But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we have a nice, fantastic week. Hopefully it goes by fast and we can get back to the weekend. Stay tuned for some videos on the Zaya and the Steelers page. Once again, for the 100th time, we are going to be moving, and I will see you there. So I don't even know how to end this. Is crazy. Anyways, guys,